Chelsea. That is one of the worst chants ever. But today, you're linked with not only Rafinha again, but also a twist. Emil Smith-Rowe is on the radar.
I knew it. I knew that was going to happen.
Emil Smith-Rowe and Rafinha are now, and Ferran Torres are the three names that you are now looking at. Now that, because you try, according to the ex-West Ham employees, pretty credible, you tried to hijack Kudus last minute and didn't get him. He already picked West Ham. And obviously we know you missed out on Elise. So now you're looking at...
No, that can't be right, because every player, every male child that is born agrees personal terms before they leave the hospital with Chelsea. So that can't be right about Kudus, right? But as for who you just said, Smith-Rowe, I knew this was going to happen. Not really? Chelsea. No, not Chelsea, but I knew him wanting to move away. Because if you look at it, he came back from injury last season. I get why Arteta didn't start him, because business end of the season, you couldn't bring him in. He had a good summer, good World Cup. Was it Euros or under 21s? And then since then, he's kind of been put out the picture because of Havertz. And if you look at it, he must be looking at this thinking, if I don't go out on loan or something, he looks more physical than Havertz. He gets more goals than Havertz. And he must be sitting there thinking, my career's going to go down the pan if I stay at this club for another year. So I get it. But Chelsea, well...
Before I go to Don on this and Rory, I would almost love Smith-Rowe to go to Chelsea for one. We had a debate about 18 months ago on the Terrace, maybe a bit less than that, where we had George and Curran arguing that Smith-Rowe will become one of the top 10 players in the world in his peak. And the Chelsea fans are arguing that Kai Havertz would be better than him. Wouldn't it be mad 18 months later if they've literally swapped clubs? I'd then love to get the opinion from those same fans about those two players. Stuff like that's always hilarious. But Don, from your point of view, I want to ask about Smith-Rowe first of all. I see you kind of shaking your head. Is that someone that you don't want your club to touch at all? I assume it's Rafinha, if you can get any of them that you would want to bring in.
Listen, with Smith-Rowe, first of all, Rory, I like him. Do you get it? Like when I used to watch Arsenal when they were coming through, him and Saka were the main two that I was looking at to say, listen, these guys are ballers. But the main problem with Smith-Rowe is his injury record, man, and he's barely had any game time. Everyone can see Chelsea, our medical team right now. I don't know what's going on over there. We've got 9 injuries already. Last season, we had 12 injuries at one point. Graham Potter was literally having to use scraps. So I don't want to bring someone in who's literally quite delicate. Do you get it? Like Smith-Rowe is 23, and it seems he's got a body of like a 30-year-old like right now at 23, which is a bit mad. So for me, that's too much of a risk, man. I rate him as a player, but it just doesn't make any sense due to that injury record. I think there's a lot more. There's other players that I would go for before him. In all honesty, Rafinha, I liked him at Leeds. When I watched him at Barcelona, he was a bit underwhelming. For Brazil in the World Cup, he was shit as well. To be honest, he didn't really do anything. So yeah, man, I don't know about Rafinha either. A few of the links that have come out today, like Ferran Torres, Terry, I'm a bit underwhelmed, man. I don't really know how far they're gonna go.
You're not on the Brennan Johnson hype train.
Nah. He can go Spurs, man. He can go Spurs. But for me, Smith-Rowe is too much of a risk. Too much of a risk. We've got too many injury-prone players, or our players keep getting injured. The moment we bring him in, that's it. It's done. Like, he'll get injured as well. So I'd rather not. But he's a good player.
Who are you actually taking then? Like, because you so far just said no to everyone. Who are you actually taking?
I'm taking right now. I'm taking Morgan Gibbs-White. I'm taking Eze. I'm taking Cherky. I'm taking Bacola on the wing. I'm taking a few others before Smith-Rowe.
And literally, when he says he's taking, he wants them all as well, by the way. Just
all
to be
of them.
clear.
I want them all. I want them all.
And why not if you're Chelsea? Why not?
Put it this way. I'm taking Marcus Edwards before Smith-Rowe. I'm taking him before Smith-Rowe. Smith-Rowe's injury record's not great, man. It's not good.
Rory, do you think Smith-Rowe's done at Arsenal? The fact that he's, again, you bought Kai Havertz in and others that play in his kind of positions.
No, I don't think he's done. I mean, he's not played a minute yet this season, which is strange, I guess. He's not massively injury prone. I think that's like a bit of a myth, and he had one bad injury where he had to get surgery on his groin. That was the start of last season, and in recovering from that, he then picked up another muscle injury, which is quite common when people are laid off for a while. So he's not actually massively injury prone. I'd hate it if he went to Chelsea. Like Balogun didn't. If we got the money for Balogun, it wouldn't have bothered me too much. Seeing Smith-Rowe in a Chelsea shirt would kill me, like absolutely kill me. And I do think
as well. He's ex-Chelsea.
Yeah.
We released him.
Well, and I do think he's still got a career at Arsenal. I do still think Arteta's made it clear he wants to use the whole squad this season. The one worry is that actually Fabio Vieira came on against Fulham and looked really good. Where for me, it kind of felt like Smith-Rowe and Fabio Vieira were going to have to compete with each other for effectively one spot. But I don't see him leaving before the end of the window because, again, we'd need to replace him and that would be difficult. So,
But if we're going with the same thing that what Mo was going with, and you're probably going to answer this with you're an Arsenal fan, not a Smith-Rowe fan, but don't you think that if you don't let him go, his career's down the pan? How old is he now? 22?
23.
23. He's just had a great summer, one of England's best players in the tournament. And it looks like, Arteta's gone and put other people in the pecking order with him. I think he's going to be pushing massive, like not just saying if one comes in. I think he's going to be pushing massively. If Chelsea don't go in for him, this could be his agent trying to get the feelers out there for other clubs because I can't see him featuring. And the problem is at Chelsea, he would bring Chelsea goals.
I would kind of agree for like in terms of. If I wasn't just an Arsenal fan and I was actually cared about just Smith-Rowe's interest, if it wasn't Chelsea, I'd say yes, maybe. If it was United even, I'd say yeah, maybe. Chelsea, Amari Hutchinson went to Chelsea last season because he didn't see a pathway to the first team at Arsenal, which would have been there if you look at Saka's backup that's almost non-existent. Amari Hutchinson went to Chelsea to get more game time. He's now sat on the bench on loan at Ipswich. Like, I don't think Chelsea... in fact, I can't think of a worse club to go to further your career than Chelsea. So, I get your point, but not...
Terry, was it a loan deal? Was it loan or was it...
No, I mean they haven't. I didn't read the full. I didn't read. Maybe I didn't read it enough. I just read that they're on the radar, and their players that Chelsea are kind of considering as Chelsea need to add more of an attacking threat. I think we can all see that. So
the thing is though, Rory, with Smith-Rowe, if we was to bring, let's say we was to bring him in, it's completely different to Amari Hutchinson because he was never brought in to be a first team player. Smith-Rowe would actually be brought in to be of course he would be. He wouldn't be in our reserves.
Position?
Oh, is he good enough? He's good enough. Smith-Rowe's good enough for your
Smith-Rowe's a baller. Like I rate him. I rate him as a player. But what I'm saying is, listen, I've struggled with injuries, bro. Like my team are struggling with injuries right now. I don't want to add someone else who's had injuries, in his career like so early. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
He would probably play in the 10, because obviously Nkuku's injured right now. If we needed him there, he could potentially play on the wing. So there's a few. He's quite versatile. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But for me, there's a lot more. There's other names that I put before him, man. But I rate him, like I said.
But this is what I'm saying in terms of his career, because he might go and start for you now. If he starts in the 10 and Nkunku comes back, probably replaces him. You've got you've got Mudryk, Sterling, Madueke. There's just so many players at Chelsea that I could just as easily see him dropping out of the first team and not really getting any minutes either. So if he's not going to play many minutes, he may as well just
loan
do that
to
at
Brighton.
Arsenal.
A loan to Brighton is what Arsenal want.
But he's not getting any minutes at Arsenal anyway. He's not getting any minutes at Arsenal anyway. You literally have Vieira, you have him, you have Havertz, you have Odegaard. You've got so many midfielders, bro. And if Arteta reverts to the midfield that you want with Partey, Odegaard, and Declan Rice, he's even further down the pecking order, bro. So I know you're shitting on Chelsea right now, but he's not getting any game time at your club either, bro.
How much do you rate Smith-Rowe, Rory? That's the thing. Do you think that
honestly,
if he goes to Chelsea, he won't be able to hold the position?
I don't know who holds the position at Chelsea at the moment. I think that's the issue. I think it would be a gamble. I think I love Smith-Rowe more than his quality is worth, if that makes sense. I don't think he's as good as my love for him is. Yeah. And that's why I just hate to see him at Chelsea in general.
I get where you're coming from. It's interesting because I was just looking at his injury record while we were talking. He's had a few injuries, as you say, groin injury, some head. Like last season was an interesting one because he got injured. He had the groin injury in September and he was out until like the 28th of November. So he was available from after the World Cup until the end of the season. Nothing else wrong with him, but he barely kicked the ball. So the fact that he wasn't getting into the team at all last year was nothing to do with his fitness issues. The fact he's not kicked a ball so far this season, this is one of those moments where as Arsenal fans, you have a love for a player like you've said, but you got to wake up and smell the coffee. If he's not getting game time, then he's in the plans, but he is a backup to the backups, essentially. He's an absolute fringe player. So I can understand why they're looking at him, but